evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Avneet Arora. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 29th of October. Indian government submits list of 627 black money holders to Apex Court. Bangladesh War Crimes Tribunal sentences Jamaat chief Nizami to death. And hundreds missing after landslide buries village in southern Sri Lanka. And now for all the details. The Indian government on Wednesday handed over the names of more than 600 individuals who have unaccounted money stashed abroad. This comes after the Supreme Court directed to disclose the entire list instead of just 8 names given on Monday.
The Apex Court was given a list of 627 Indians who allegedly hold unaccounted money, often referred to as black money, in foreign countries. The names in the list are of those disclosed to India by the French authorities. Though Indians are believed to have accounts worth billions in many countries, Wednesday's list only includes one particular bank in Geneva.
The Government of India gave the entire list of HSBC accounts. There are about 627 or 628 accounts. We gave it in a sealed cover to the court. A status report was also given in the sealed cover.
The Narendra Modi government had constituted a special investigation team in May to look into the matter. Many said the names of those mentioned in the sealed envelope, which was submitted to the top court, should now be disclosed.
We hope that the SIT will recommend disclosure or will order the disclosure of most of these names, because it is important that the country comes to know as to who are these account holders, particularly those whose accounts were found to be illegal.
Black money refers to undeclared funds that Indians have stashed abroad to avoid local tax. It was one of the lead campaign issues the Bharatiya Janata Party raised in a run-up to the general elections earlier this year. The party had promised to bring back the black money and initiate strict action against such account holders. Even though exact figures are not available, according to observers, some $344 billion has been flown out of the country in the past 10 years.
Bangladesh's International War Crimes Tribunal or ICT on Wednesday convicted Jamaat-e-Islami leader Motiur Rahman Nizami to death for involvement in crimes against humanity during the 1971 Liberation War. He is the 6th Jamaat leader found guilty by the ICT.
The ICT announced the verdict amid heightened security across capital Dhaka after fear of violence by the Jamaat. The special court pronounced death penalty to Motiur Rahman Nizami after finding him guilty of 16 charges, including genocide, rape, arson and killing of minority Hindus during the country's independence struggle. The 71-year-old former cabinet minister in the Bangladesh Nationalist Party government was already convicted to death in January for smuggling arms to terror outfits in neighbouring India in 2004. The Jamaat chief's verdict is the 11th sentence by the ICT so far. The Awami League government, headed by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, had constituted the ICT in 2010 to try those accused of collaborating with Pakistan during the 1971 Liberation War. Some 3 million people were killed and 200,000 women were raped during the 9-month-long civil war when Bangladesh, then known as East Pakistan, fought to secede from West Pakistan.
At least 10 people have been killed in a massive landslide that struck southern Sri Lanka on Wednesday. The landslide spread over 2 miles, hit the village of Haldumulla in Badula district, burying over 140 houses and leaving more than 300 people missing. Days of incessant raining is being cited as the reason behind the calamity. Emergency search operation was on to rescue those still caught below the rocks and debris. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani began his first foreign trip as the country head with China. The newly elected premier aims at inviting increased Chinese engagement for bringing peace to war-torn Afghanistan.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani arrived in Beijing on Tuesday to secure a long-term partnership with China. Ghani was accorded a ceremonial welcome by his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping outside the Great Hall of the People. Delegations from both countries signed 4 agreements including diplomatic, technical, humanitarian, relief and trade cooperation. During his 4-day visit, Ghani is set to hold meeting with Chinese officials and investors on bilateral and issues of common interests and to develop the mining industry in Afghanistan. Ghani visit comes at a time when the foreign troops are rapidly returning from Afghanistan, leaving behind a substantial security void, which the Taliban has been trying to take advantage of through a surge in its string of attacks to capture the region. At least 2 police officers were killed and several others were injured on Tuesday when unidentified gunmen opened fire at a police checkpoint in Afghanistan's western province of Herat.
عزیز در پیوند به رویدادی که امروز بعد از ظهر در سایه جاده نظامی شهر هرات اتفاق افتاد در کل تقریبا در حدود 4 کشته و 15 مجروح از محل این رویداد به شفاخانه حفظ ویرات انتقال داده شده.
The attack came after a Taliban-led gun battle outside a court in northern Kunduz left 7 people dead on Monday. The US-led forces began invading Afghanistan in 2001, ousting the Taliban from its decades-long regime. Though the NATO has formally ended its mission, around 12,000 military personnel, mostly Americans, will stay in the country for at least a decade. The latest security arrangement to tackle the Taliban comes as a provision under the recently signed bilateral security agreement between Kabul and Washington.
Pakistan's effort to internationalize the Kashmir issue suffered yet another setback when Britain refused to interfere in the dispute. This comes after Pakistani groups tried to stage a rally in London seeking international intervention in Kashmir.
Days after Pakistani leaders petitioned David Cameron against India over Kashmir, the British Prime Minister on Tuesday said his country will not be a party in the dispute. Speaking to an Indian television channel, the British Premier said New Delhi and Islamabad should resolve the Kashmir dispute bilaterally. On Sunday, Pakistani political groups had organised what they called the Million Rally against India in London. The few hundreds who attended the demonstration in Trafalgar Square to Downing Street had petitioned seeking UK's intervention. Islamabad's efforts, however, ended up becoming a farce when a political group started indulging in intra-party slogans and then became violent, forgetting that they had gathered to support Kashmir. Pakistan People's Party chairman Bilawal Bhutto Zardari was booed, tomatoes, eggs were thrown at him when he tried to make it his political campaign. The ploy to internationalize the Kashmir issue failed when no politician from Britain took part or gave any support to the so-called Kashmir March.
A policeman jailed for the murder of former Punjab Governor Salman Taseer incited the recent attack on a blasphemy convict inside a Pakistani jail, investigations have revealed. One person was killed while another had suffered serious injuries when a prison guard opened fire last month.
Mumtaz Qadri, the former guard of slain Punjab Governor Salman Taseer, had evoked the attack which killed a Christian pastor and injured a 70-year-old Briton, both convicted for death under blasphemy law. The prison guard, Mohammad Yusuf, who opened fire at the duo inside a Rawalpindi jail, had spent nearly a month guarding Qadri, who is on death row, for the assassination of Taseer. Investigators said he had recruited 2 other prison officials for targeting the blasphemy convicts inside jail. Qadri, the bodyguard of Taseer, shot him dead in capital Islamabad in January 2011 for the former Punjab governor's criticism of Pakistan's controversial blasphemy law. Qadri, who was arrested immediately, was deemed a hero by both extremist elements and lawyers alike. Blasphemy is a serious crime in Pakistan and it is punishable by death.
Sindhi activists say that Pakistan is exporting terror to neighbouring countries and is instrumental in shattering peace in the region. They are demanding international pressure on Pakistan to stop spreading cross-border extremism.
The World Sindhi Congress has condemned Pakistan's continued regimes for turning a blind eye towards its intelligence agencies which are freely funding terror groups.
Somehow, the terror and the links of terror will lead you to Pakistan. They are creating, trying to radicalize and create terrorism in India, in Western countries. All these people that many of the people that are going to Iraq and Syria, many of them are British born, and many of them have been trained in Afghanistan or Pakistan. They are emerging stories. They are creating terrorism even in China. So they have been really exposed.
Lohana also accused Pakistan for plotting and indoctrinating youths in neighbouring countries and in vulnerable regions like Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which it treats like its colonies.
They believe that Afghanistan is their 6th or 7th province, as they made Gilgit-Baltistan, which is internationally declared that it is a disputed area. Internationally, UN, they made it them as a province. Similarly, they call it Azad Kashmir, they made it a their province. They want to make, as they made it during the time of Taliban, Afghanistan was for all strategic purposes, although it was a separate country, it had its own currency. For all strategic purposes, Afghanistan was a province of Pakistan.
Sindhis claim that Sunni-dominated Pakistan has been regularly inflicting violence against various minority communities to drive them out of their homeland.
We Sindhi people are being killed and marginalized and being converted to minority. But if you look at from any perspective, this country and is a serious threat to the regional peace and to the global peace.
Militant outfits operating in Pakistan like the Lashkar, Hizbul Mujahideen and Harkatul Mujahideen, who target minorities, have been globally banned, but its leaders allegedly enjoy the patronage of Pakistan.
After giving Bollywood one of its best action flicks, two of industry's most favorite action stars get along to raise the bar one notch higher. Take a look at their latest offering.
They are the best in their own light, but when teaming up, they promise to set a benchmark in Bollywood's action world. Actor Ajay Devgan is flexing his muscles in Prabhu Deva's newest directorial film, Action Jackson.
It's my way. Yeah, Skyway.
The cast of the movie launched its first look in entertainment capital Mumbai recently. The actor-director duo was flanked by actors Yami Gautam and Kunal Roy Kapoor along with debutant Manasvi Mamgai. Devgan, best known for his action films like Singham, Ganga Jal and Phool Aur Kaate, said his action avatar in the latest was different.
I think it's something new, it's something nice, and the kind of style Prabhu's given and presented all of us. I think it's been fabulous. I've always been telling him on the set that I think the way you've presented me, it's really fabulous.
Gautam, who is teaming up with Prabhu Deva for the first time, was all praise for the director.
When I spoke to him, when he talks, he's as soft-spoken as a director, as a person he comes across, on stage, in his interviews and whenever he talks. And I was definitely very scared, but I think it made it very, very easy for me. I think he's one of the most, as much as a fabulous choreographer and dancer and director he is, he's at the same time the most softest and most easiest to work with, which is, I think, great.
Action Jackson is a remake of Telugu movie Dukudu. It is the story about a young policeman who is out to hunt down the men who caused an accident of his politician father, putting him in a long coma. The film, which is set to open in December, also stars Sonakshi Sinha and is the Bollywood debut for Tamil actor Anand Raj.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Indian government submits list of 627 black money holders to Apex Court. Bangladesh War Crimes Tribunal sentences Jamaat chief Nizami to death. And hundreds missing after landslide buries village in southern Sri Lanka. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.